And if co-host, I'm going to start playing the audio now. If you could please tell me if you can hear it. Can you hear it?
Yes, I can hear it.
Okay, perfect.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم.
Okay, perfect. So now that you have listened to the audio, what we're going to do is I'm going to call a few students to the mic one by one to have a go at reciting this verse. I know as part of your homework yesterday, you guys were asked to memorize this verse. So if you would have memorized it, then it would be easier for you to recite it today. If not, you're just going to be reciting slowly and making sure that you include all the rules that you have learned so far, okay? So if co-host, I could please have a student to the mic.
NT 3095, can you unmute yourself?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing today? You okay?
Fine, alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm good too, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to kindly recite this, the first two lines for me, please, yeah?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم.
Okay, well done. I'm going to stop you here. MashaAllah, can I say your recitation was beautiful. I can see that you're able to apply different rules and regulations within your recitation. So that's very important to do. And it can be very hard, but you've done that very beautifully today. So I'm very happy about that. You should be very proud of yourself.
Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. Now, only a few things I would like to mention. When you are pausing over here, rather than saying illahu, you need to stretch the sound out a bit, okay? Do you know why we do that?
Is it because the fatha on top of the waw becomes a sakin?
Yes, well done, well done. The fatha on top of the vowel becomes a sakin, okay? So what happens is that when it becomes a sakin, that vowel sakin now acts as a vowel mad, which means that if there is a vowel sakin and the letter before that has got a dhamma on top, then we elongate it for 2 seconds. That's what vowel mad is. So when we are pausing, try and make sure, this is for everyone, that when you're pausing, you have to elongate the hu sound for 2 seconds at the end. Okay, so if you can recite this first part again for me, but make sure you incorporate what I've just said, yeah?
Okay. Allahu la ilaha illahu.
Well done, mashallah. This time you paused perfectly. I could hear that you elongated the sound towards the end, so that's really good. And also can I just say your dal sound was really good. Very nicely you said the dal sound. A lot of the time people tend to say the, and that would be a grammatical mistake. But make sure that that dal sound is given throughout the whole recitation. So you did that beautifully. But the only one thing I will point out to you is that when you're reading, it's very important to show the difference between Arabic letters, okay? So for example, Ain and Alif, people tend to mix up the pronunciations of the two, okay? And when you were reciting, this Alif here, you gave it a bit of an Ain sound. Make sure that you know that the sound of these two come from different parts of the throat. Do you know where the sound of the Ain comes from?
Is it from the middle of your throat?
Yes, absolutely. Well done. And where does the sound of the Alif come from?
From the bottom?
Well done, well done. So the sound of the Alif comes from the bottom of the throat, more towards the chest. So well done, beautifully recited. Have you memorized this verse of by heart yet or not?
Not yet.
Okay, no worries at all. Well, that's part of your homework today, so try and do that, yeah?
Okay.
Well done, but I'm very happy with your recitation today. Keep revising and keep practicing as much as you can, and inshallah, I hope to call you to the mic again soon, yeah?
Yes.
Take care of yourself. Jazakallah for coming to the mic. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Okay, so co-host, if I could please have another student to the mic.
Can AG3069 unmute themselves?
Perfect. AG3069. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you doing today? You okay?
Yes, I'm fine, alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm good too, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. Okay, so if you can please start off with Ta'awud and Tasmiyah, and if you can please start reciting from here for me, please.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء. وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Very nicely recited. Another beautiful recitation today. I'm so proud of everyone that's coming to the mic so far, because I feel like you guys have improved quite a lot from how you guys
Thank you,
started.
Jazakallah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So beautifully recited. Let's just look at a few things, okay, before you know, I ask you to recite that again. First things first, this ha sound, where does the sound of the ha comes from?
Your throat.
Yep, absolutely. But where about in the throat? Is it the top, middle, or bottom?
Bottom.
Okay, so the sound of the ha actually comes from the middle of the throat, yeah? So what happens is that the sound of the ayn and ha comes from the middle of the throat, and the sound of normal ha, which is basically this ha, comes from the bottom, more towards bottom of the throat, more towards the chest, yeah?
Yeah.
So make sure you very beautifully gave the ha sound there, but what happened was that over here, because there were two ha's placed next to each other, you tend to give that one, you know, a normal ha sound as well, which is a very normal mistake to make, but try to refrain from making that mistake, yeah? So here we're doing a normal ha sound, and here we're saying hifzuhuma. Can you try saying that for me?
Hifzuhuma.
Okay, so make sure that the middle of the throat sound comes here. Hifzuhuma. This ha is simple. Try saying that again.
Hifzuhuma.
Much better, much better. And this time I can really hear the difference between the two hers, right? So it's a very hard rule to pick up on, but it just comes more with practice. But I'm really happy with your recitation today. And your ayn sound was beautifully said as well, so you should be very proud of that. I'm just going to quickly ask you a quick question just to jog your memory a bit. Over here, this sign here, do you know what this sign is called?
Bari mud.
Okay, yes, it's the bari mud, but do you know the Arabic sound of it, like the Arabic name?
Is it?
So would it be a mad saghir or mad kabir?
A mud kabir.
Yes, absolutely, it's a mad kabir. So make sure that when you're pausing at the end, even though you're pausing, you're still going to stretch out the sound of the sheen for 4 to 6 seconds, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was that, mashallah. I'm very happy with your recitation today. Keep revising, okay? Because you're going to become a professional by just practicing as much as you can. So well done for coming to the mic today. And I'm very happy with your recitation. Jazakallah. Khudafiz. Okay, so if co-host, I could please have another student to the mic.
Can we have NG 3018?
Perfect.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too, alhamdulillah. Just to confirm quickly, your ID is NG3018, right?
Yes.
Perfect, that's great. So that's good. Let me just quickly write something down. Okay, so if you can please start off with Ta'awud and Tasmiyah, and you're gonna start reciting the same 2 lines here for me, yeah?
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء. وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يعوده حفظهما و وهو no والآخرة وهو العلي العظيم.
Okay, well done, mashallah. Another nice, beautiful recitation. I'm very happy with your recitation today. I can see you've tried really hard to recite every word with much care. So that's really good. And I like how you're elongating your letters. There's only 2 places where I think that you elongated it for more than you were meant to. For example, this ayn here has got a fatha on top. Do you know how long we elongate a fatha for?
2 seconds.
Okay, so here's the thing. If whenever there is a fatha, dhamma, or kasra on top or underneath a letter, we should only give it a 1 second timing, okay? So here, it's got a fatha on top. That means we're just going to give it a 1 second timing. So you're going to say, wasi'a. Can you try saying that?
واسعة.
Well done, well done. So that same thing is going to apply here as well. وَهُوَ الْعَلِيُّ. Try saying that.
وهو العلي.
Well done. This time, you gave it the correct amount of time on every letter that you were meant to, yeah? And then this dod here. Now, people do tend to say urs, but remember, that's not za. Za is a different letter. This is a dod. So when you're pausing, this is how you're meant to say. Well, arud. Can you try saying that for me?
What? How do I have to read this again?
Yeah, you're just gonna recite this word again, but try saying well arud. A thick dal sound there, yeah?
والأرض.
Better, much better. But this is not an ayn, it's just an alif, okay? So try not to say ard, just try and say arud. Yeah, try saying that for me.
والأرض.
Okay, much better, much better. Mashallah, you also recited these 2 lines very beautifully. Keep practicing as much as you can. And that's how you're gonna get the hang of, reciting in a good flow with the correct timings. But mashallah, you did a very good job today at reciting this, yeah?
Jazakallah, Khudafis.
Jazakallah khair. Take care. Allah Hafiz. Okay, so if I can please now ask the G3 in charge to open up the breakout rooms.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yes, I'm going to open the breakout rooms, and I just want to remind all the students to stay in the breakout room for as long as it's open. Don't leave the breakout room or leave the class and then try to join the main session again, because we will be listening to Hifz in both places, in main session as well and in the breakout room as well. So you won't miss out on anything. Allah.
Okay, so we're just going to wait a few more moments for all of the children to go to their breakout rooms. You will get a notification on your screen asking you to join a breakout room. Make sure you accept that invitation, okay? Make sure you accept that invitation. I can see a lot of you guys are accepting it already, which is really good. And make sure you enter your allocated breakout rooms. Okay, so meanwhile, we are gonna start off with our Hifz. So if co-host, I can please have a student to the mic to come up for the Hifz.
Yes. Can AG3001 unmute themselves?
AG3001, Assalamu alaikum. AG3001, Assalamu alaikum. Okay, no problem. If you can have another student to the mic.
AG3003.
Perfect. AG3003, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you doing today? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so you have a choice of what you would like to recite today. You can either recite the first couple of verses of Surah Al-Baqarah. You can either recite the Ayatul Kursi, or you can recite either one of Surah Al-Ma'un, Surah Al-Quraysh, or Surah Al-Fil, any one of these three surahs. So you can let me know which one you would like to recite today.
Ayatul Kursi.
Ayatul Kursi, perfect, okay. So let me just quickly turn here. Great, so if you can please start off with the Awud and Tasmiyah and start reciting for me, please.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم. لا تأخذ سنة ولا نوم. له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه. يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم. ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء. وسع كرسي السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم.
Okay, perfect. MashaAllah, very nicely recited. Your hifz was on point, so you didn't really forget anything. That's really good. Let's just quickly now look at a few things together, just so that we can practice this verse as much as we can, yeah? So first thing here is whenever there is Allah's name, okay, this is what Allah's name looks like, yeah? Whenever you see Allah's name, you need to think about, am I going to give it a thick sound or am I going to give it a thin sound? And what determines, the letter that tells you what sound to make is the letter that the lam is joining to. So this lam is actually joining to this alif here, right? Now the rule is, if the letter joining to Allah's name has got a fatha or a dhamma on top, then you should give it a thick sound. However, if it has got a kasra underneath, then we give it a thin sound, yeah? So because this alif has got a fatha on top, we know that we need to give it a thick sound. So try saying Allah's name, but make sure that you're giving a thick sound.
Allahu.
Well done. So it's going to be said as Allahu, and we're giving a thick sound there. So that's the only thing, one of the things I wanted to point out to you. Moving on forwards, this ha, do you know if this is one of your throat letters?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It is one of your throat letters. And the sound of it comes from the middle of the throat. So try not to give it a simple ha sound, okay? Ha and ha, these are two very different letters. I'll highlight a ha for you. This is what a ha is, and this is what a ha is. Can you hear the difference between the two?
Yeah.
Perfect. So this ha sound is more thick, comes from the middle of the throat. And with the qa, what we are doing is we're giving a bit of a round mouth. Qayyum. Try saying that.
Qayyum.
Well done. Now let's try saying this. Al-Hayyul Qayyum.
Al-Hayyul Qayyum.
Much better, mashallah. Very nicely recited. And do you know if there is a letter which has got a shadda on top, what we need to do to it? So if there is a shadda, this sign on top of a letter, what should we do?
Kalkula.
So not necessarily kalkala, but we need to put pressure on the letter, yeah? So when you were saying qayyum, can you hear I'm putting pressure on top of the ya?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well done. So that's what we're doing. Any letter which has got a shadda on top, we should put pressure on it. So that's that. Now, if you try reciting this first part for me, but make sure you take into consideration everything I spoke to you about so far.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum.
Much better. But make sure your ha, the sound comes from the middle. Al-hayyul qayyum. Try saying that.
Al hayyul qayyum.
Well done. And here, there is a noon sakin. Now, the rule is that whenever you see a noon sakin, you have to look at the letter before, okay? Because with noon sakin, we don't always give it a full clear noon sound. With noon sakin, you either give it a full clear noon sound, or you can give it a half nasal sound, or you can conceal the sound of the noon, in other words. So you need to decide between the two, right? Whenever you see a noon sakin, you need to ask yourself, do I give a full clear noon sound, or do I hide the sound of the noon? And the letter that tells you, or that letter that determines whether you need to give a full clear noon sound or hide the sound of the noon, is actually the letter before it, okay? So the letter before noon sakin is actually, sorry, the letter after it, I meant to say. The letter after a noon sakin is a dhal. Now ask yourself, is dhal one of our throat letters? Would you know?
I think no.
Yes, it's not. Absolutely, you're correct. So because dhal is not one of your throat letters, we are going to hide the sound of the noon. So rather than saying man dhalladhi, we are going to say ma dhalladhi. Do you hear the difference between the two?
Yeah.
Perfect. So try saying it for me.
Man zalladhi.
Perfect. Well done. This time I can really hear the hidden nasal sound there. And over here, do you know the rule of yamad? I'm sorry?
We have to do sukoon.
Okay, so there is already a sukoon there, or a jazm we can say. So whenever there is a ya sakin, you have to look at the letter before. And if the letter before that has got a kasra underneath, we should always elongate it for 2 seconds. So this ya sakin has got a letter before which has got a kasra underneath. That means it's not a ya sakin anymore, but instead it's a ya mad. That means that we need to elongate the word for 2 seconds. So this is how we're going to say it. Aydihim. Try saying that.
Aydihim.
Absolutely. Well done. MashaAllah, very nice you recited. Your hifz was on point. Just try to practice as many of your rules as possible, yeah?
Okay.
Perfect. Jazakallah khair for coming to the mic today. Thank you very much for your time. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz. Okay, so if co-host, I could have another student to the mic.
Okay, can we have NG3013?
Perfect. NG3013. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing today?
Good.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, so you have a choice of what you would like to recite actually. You can tell me what you want to recite. Would you want to recite Ayatul Kursi, the first couple of verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, or would you like to recite Surah Al-Quraysh, Surah Al-Ma'un, or Surah Al-Fil? It's up to you.
I haven't memorized all.
For recite, not for memorize. For recite.
Recited.
I think देख के पढ़ना.
Okay, so if you haven't memorized, Then you can recite, do you know Surah Al-Kawthar?
Actually, see it memorizing, but not completely memorize these surahs. That's what you asked.
Okay. So, all right, that's fine. But so would you know Surah Al-Kawthar or Surah Al-Kafirun, by any chance? NG3013, will you be able to recite Surah Al-Kawthar?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So if you start with Ta'awudh and Tasmiyah, and then you can recite Surah Al-Kawthar for me, yeah?
Okay.
Perfect, go for it.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر
إن شاني
شانئك هو الأبتر.
Okay, well done. MashaAllah, very nicely recited, NG3013. Beautiful recitation. Let me just quickly talk you through a few things, yeah? Now, do you know Ayn? Do you know if Ayn is one of your throat letters?
Yes.
Perfect, it is. So, because Ayn is one of your throat letters, do you know where the sound of the Ayn comes from? In terms of, is it gonna come from the middle, bottom, or top of the throat?
The middle.
The middle, absolutely. So when you're saying make sure you're giving it that sort of a middle throat sound there, yeah? Try saying that for me.
أعطينا.
Well done, mashallah, very nicely recited. And this ra, now ra is a funny letter because it can both be given a thick sound and a thin sound, just like we do with Allah's name, right? So the thing that determines whether we need to give ra a thick or thin sound is the stroke that it has on top. So if the ra has got a fatha or a dhamma on top, then we give it a thick sound. But if it has a kasra underneath, then we give it a thin sound. Now here, you can see that the ra has got a fatha on top. So are we going to give it a thick sound or are we going to give it a thin sound?
Thick sound.
Yes, so we're going to give it a thick sound, absolutely. So if you can please repeat after me. لِرَبِّكَ.
لربك.
Well done, but make sure you're giving a thick round mouthed sound here. لِرَبِّكَ.
لربك.
Well done, mashallah. This time I could really hear that round mouth there. Even though I can't see you do the round mouth, I can hear it actually. So well done. And same thing here, ha and ayn. The sound of both of these comes from the middle of the throat. So make sure you don't give it a simple ha sound, but make sure you give the sound from the middle of your throat. So if you can please repeat after me. وَانْحَرْ.
وانهر.
Well done, but make sure you're giving the sound from the middle of the throat. وَانْحَرْ.
وانحر.
Well done, mashallah, very nicely recited. And the only last thing I'm going to say is actually a quick question. You did it beautifully, you didn't do anything wrong here, but I'm still going to ask you, why do we give a jerking sound on the ba here? Do you know?
Because ba is a calcula.
Yes, ba is actually one of your qalqala letters, okay? So we have 5 letters. We have qaf, ta, ba, jim, and dal. Okay. If any one of these 5 letters come with a sukoon or a jazm on top, we should always give it a jerking sound. Okay?
Okay.
So this ba has got a sukoon or a jazm on top. So what should we do then?
Do a jerking sound.
Absolutely. Well done. So try saying the last word for me here, but give a jerking sound.
Abadan.
Well done, but try not to stretch out the sound of the ba at the end. If you can please repeat after me. Abtar.
Abadan.
Well done, mashallah, very nicely recited. Keep practicing. In this course, it's very important to stay on top of the memorization. So try to memorize as much as you can because you can be picked any time to recite anything just like I did today. So you need to be prepared for the worst case scenario, yeah? But well done for coming to the mic and still giving a go. So well done for that, yeah? Jazakumullah for coming to the mic. Sorry, I had this pop-up coming on my screen. That's why I went quiet. Jazakallah khair for coming to the mic today. And we hope to call you to the mic again soon, yeah?
Okay.
Perfect. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Okay, perfect. So now everyone, we are gonna have a weekly quiz. We're just gonna wait a second or two for everyone else from the breakout rooms to come in. People are coming in slowly. Okay, so we're going to have a weekly quiz, and for that, I'm going to hand straight over to another one of our G3 teachers.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So today we're gonna have our weekly quiz. The quiz is from everything that you have learned so far. Okay, so and I keep reminding you every time I do this quiz that you need to make sure that you remember the lessons that you have done in the earlier previously. Okay, you can't forget them. And therefore, today we'll have some questions from your old lessons and some from your recent lessons, okay? And I'm gonna start our quiz with our first question. So the first question is, which surah name means cow? Okay, option A is Surah Fatiha, option B is Surah Baqarah, option C is Surah Fil, and option D is Surah Nasr. I'm going to launch the poll and you can choose your options. So I'm going to repeat the options again. Option A, Surah Fatiha, option B, Surah Baqarah, option C, Surah Fil, and option D, Surah Nasr. Okay, we're going to end our poll here. Let's see what the popular answer is. So the most popular answer was Surah Al-Baqarah. So let's see if that's the right answer or not. Yes, that is the right answer. Well done, everyone. We're going to move on to our next question, which is, which surah deals with people having red faces and fiery tempers? Is it option A, Surah Fatiha, option B, Surah Baqarah, option C, Surah Fil, option D, Surah Lahab? Okay, I'm going to launch the poll and let's see if that's what the popular answer is. We'll end our poll here. Let's see what the popular answer is. So most of you have answered Surah Al-Lahab. Let's check if that's the right answer or not. Yes, that is the correct answer. Surah Al-Lahab content deals with fiery tempers and red faces. Okay. Next question is, in which surah believers are told that the victory promised to them has already come and people have joined Islam in large numbers? Option A, Surah Fatiha. Option B, Surah Baqarah. Option C, Surah Kausar. Or option D, Surah Nasr. Okay, I will launch the poll. So the question is, in which surah believers are told that victory promised to them has come and people have joined Islam in large numbers? We will end our poll here. Let's see what the popular answer is. So most of you, it's between Surah Kausar and Surah Nasr. So let's see which of them is the right answer. It is Surah Nasr. Well done to those who got it right. Next question is, it's a true and false. True or false? Normal elongation is when ya sakin is preceded by maksur, letter carrying kasra. It should be prolonged by 4 seconds. Okay, so you need to tell me, is it true or false? I'm going to launch the poll. We will end our poll here. So the popular answer was false. Let's check if that's the right answer or not. Yes, that's the correct answer. So this statement is false because normal elongation is when ya sakin is preceded by maksur. That is correct, but it should be prolongated by 2 seconds, not 4 seconds. Okay, so well done. True or false again? Ra mutaharrik is pronounced thickly if it carries a fatha, dhamma, or der tanween. So is it true or false? We'll launch the poll. We will end our poll here. Let's see what the popular answer is. So, most of you have said that Ra mutaharrik is pronounced thickly if it carries a fatha, dhamma, or tanween, and that is true. So let's see if you're correct or not. Yes, you are correct. MashaAllah, well done. Our next question is, in Ayatul Kursi, which of the following attributes of Allah is not mentioned? Okay, is it option A, Al-Hayyu, option B, Al-Qayyum, option C, Al-Azim, or option C, Al-Wasi'? Okay, so which of the following is not mentioned? We will end our quiz here. Let's see what the popular answer is. So, yes, most of you have said Al-Wasi'. Let's see if that's the right answer or not. Yes, that is the correct answer. Well done. Our next question is, how many times does the word Yash'urun appears in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 9 to 17? Option A, 1 time. Option B, 2 times. Option C, 3 times. Option D, 4 times. Okay, so we'll launch the poll. Okay, we will end our poll here. Let's see what the popular answer is. Yes, so the popular answer is it appears 2 times. So let's see if that's correct or not. Yes, the word Yash'urun appears 2 times. First in verse 10, and then second time it appears in verse 13. So well done. And our last question is a multiple choice question. In which verse of Surah Al-Lahab does the word Lahab appears? Okay, is it verse 1, verse 2, verse 4, or verse 6? Okay, it's a multiple choice question, and we will launch our poll. We will end our poll here. Let's see what the popular answer is. So it was a multiple choice, and verse 2 and verse 4 are the most popular answers. Let's see if you're correct or not. So yes, verse 2 and verse 4. Well done to everyone. And that is the end of our quiz. I will see you next week, and make sure that you prepare and you go back to your lessons, because from now on you will be having questions from your older lessons. Okay? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, perfect. MashaAllah, very nice and very interactive quiz. Jazakallah khair for that. So just before we end off our class today, let's just quickly look at our homework. So you are told to memorize Surah Al-Baqarah verse 256, which was the homework yesterday as well. And you're told to revise all of the chapters that you have covered so far. There is also a rule quest, and the surah in focus for it is Surah Al-Baqarah verse 285. If you are aged 6 to 7, we ask you to look for examples of soft elongation in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 285. So soft elongation is when Waw Sakin and Ya Sakin is preceded by a maftuh letter, which is basically a letter carrying a fatha. And whenever that happens, then we should prolong softly for 2 seconds. So that is the rule for soft elongation. So if you're aged 6 to 7, look for that in that verse. If you're aged 8 to 9, look for example of extended elongation. So mad saghir and mad kabir. And if you are aged 10 to 12, look for examples of ishbahiyya strokes. So vertical fatha, vertical kasra, inverted dhamma to be prolonged for 2 seconds. So examples of those. Okay. And as always, we're going to end off our class with a closing prayer today. So if I can ask the co-host to call a student to the mic for that.
Yes, can NG3021 unmute herself?
NG3021, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing today?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you?
I'm good too, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah for asking. Okay, if you can please start off with ta'awud and tasmiyah and recite the following prayer for me, please.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم ارحمني بالقرآن العظيم واجعله لي إماما ونورا وهدى ورحمة.
Beautifully recited. And if you can please read out the English.
O Allah, have mercy on me through the great Quran and make it for me the leader, the light, the guidance, and the mercy.
Perfect. Very nicely recited. Jazakallah khair for coming to the mic today. Take care. Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Okay, so everyone, that was it for today. Jazakumullah to everyone for arriving on time today, and well done to everyone that was called to the mic today. For those of you who were not called to the mic, inshallah, we are going to call you in our upcoming classes. Keep revising and keep working hard. And I hope to see you guys in another class soon. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.